Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Parenting Boost with Funmi Odumade. How are you all? And I hope you are doing well. How is the summer holiday going? I hope it's going well for every one of us. I pray that God will grant you the strength that is needed at this time in Jesus' name. And I want to say thank you to you all for your love, for your watching all my videos. I really appreciate you all for your comments. And thank you so much. God bless you. So yeah, I'm here again for another edition of Parenting Boss. So I'll be doing the part two of the part one video that I did on preparing your child for starting primary school. And this one will be based on how we can, start them up early academically on literacy, numeracy, as we call it, on math and English, if that's what you prefer. So that's what I'll be doing. Just be sharing tips on what we can do during the summer holiday to prepare them for starting primary in or reception, in September. So the first one I'm going to mention is, we need to encourage them or teach them to know their name, to know their name. It will be very important for our children to know their name, to they should be able to recognize their name in the clock room, because for each classroom, if you are in England always, or in UK, for each classroom there will be a clock room where everyone will put their bags, their belongings, their coats and all that. So they do label it, they do put the name of each child on the peg. So it will be good for our children to be able to identify their names, to be able to write their names, to be able to identify their names on labels. For instance, maybe on label on their clothes, include on their uniform. If you've labeled the uniform and they've done PE and change clothes and clothes mixed up, which usually happens, especially for that age group, then if they know their name, then they will be able to identify their name correctly and get the right their uniform, and not pick somebody else's uniform home. So it would be good for us to teach them how to do that. It would be good for them to be able to write their names as well. There are many ways we can get that done. What I did when I was still, in that stage, much younger, was that I wasn't, I was still new in the country, not new per se anyway. But what I did was to kind of like get the A4 paper, put the alphabet on A4 paper, and cut it up, and just ask them so I kind of like mix it up together. And so we have the name or written somewhere, and I ask them to pick the letters that's for their names. And sometimes I kind of like rearrange the names and ask them to find the missing letters and all that. Before you know it, they were able to spell their name. But I think now it's, there are different things we can do. We can buy the alphabet magnets, where you can use on your fridge, or you can use on the writing board, or you can, help them to even sound their name. But I want us to move away from just sounding, giving you the sounds of each letter in their name, but to be able to identify the alphabet itself and be able to write it down. So we can do that. We can, for them to write their names, we can kind of like have like in form of a dot for each letters, and ask them to trace those dots, one after the other, and master it. And before we know it, they will be able to write and spell their names. So another thing I want to say is to share stories with them, So reading with our children help them a lot. It improves their vocabulary, their listening skills. I know I've done a video on why reading is important. If you haven't watched that video, please, I'll put the link somewhere. Feel free to go and watch and listen to it. It's why reading is important. So reading really helps them to build their vocabulary, their listening skills, acting out stories as well. is a great way for them to practice, their communication. They can act it out. I used to have concern when one of mine was just, talking to themselves and all that. But when they started school, I asked the teachers, and the teachers said, oh, it's okay for them to be able to relate those stories that they've read back to themselves. It brings creativity if you have a child doing that. So, we can do that. There are e-books as well. They can listen to books, they can read books, they can do anything actually this time that we are, and I'm not sure if it will include nursery or children, reception children. I do know that in England they do have summer reading challenge. So that might be an opportunity to go to the library to collect books, during the summer holiday and to do that with them as well. So the second point I want to mention is to kind of like improve their motor skills. Their motor skills. They're going to do a lot of writing and reception. And I know some parents, we do struggle with where the boundary should lie when it comes to pencils, when it comes to crayons, when it comes to coloring the home, because our children ended up painting the walls with their crayons, and sometimes we kind of like want to take this thing away from them, but they really need to. So it's just a way of finding how they can do these activities without, I won't say messing up the house because, having mess is part of it's part of growing up. So there are times that they have to make the mess. They have to play with the paint. They have to feel the texture of the paint and all that. But how we do it in a way that will reduce stress and us cleaning and cleaning all the time is what we should be looking for as parents, and not just removing them from those activities totally, because it really helps them. So they need to kind of like support them by they can get a good motorist, because they will have to be able to hold and grip pencils. And I've worked in the school before. I've realized that one of the ways teachers help children that struggling with motor skills and unable to grip their pencils properly is by giving them scissors. They are child friendly scissors, and asking them to use scissors to cut things, or they ask them beads, big beads. We do have beads that that the children can play with, and they ask them to put threads to that beads. In doing that, it's helping their motor skills as well as helping their concentration, because when you're putting thread into beads, you're concentrating a lot, so it helps them to be able to manage all that. And it helps them to have hard and high coordination as well, and which is very important for them when they start school, when they go to reception. And the last one I'm going to talk about is on numbers. We should introduce them to numbers, to numbers. Yes, it's good for them to count 1 to 10. You will be amazed that they're not expecting your children to be able to count 1 to 100 at the start of reception. But the thing is, they should be able to count from 1 to 10. They should be able to count forward and backward. They should be able to recognize the numbers, from at least from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. And if they can go to the point of writing it, I think that will help them and give them a good head start before September or before they start school, whether August in Scotland. So we can introduce them to numbers. We can identify numbers with them at home. We're going on a walk or we're going on the bus. We can identify numbers that way. We can do number hunt around the house or around the area. We can, if it's people that use, public transport a lot, we can ask them to hunt for numbers on buses. There's so many fun ways that we can do this, without sitting them down, all the time and say, yes, it's time to learn numbers. The different ways we can do this. And, we can be in the it can be time for meal time, and we ask them to put the cutlery out, and share within the family, and they kind of like match, look at the number of cutleries they got and how they're going to share that within family. So those are the different areas, that it'll be good for our children to learn before they start school in September. and I just pray that the Lord will help us in Jesus' name as we catch fun during this summer period, that we have the time to be able to put all this, in them before they go to school, and our children will thrive in school in Jesus' name. Do continue to enjoy your summer holiday till I come again your way next week. God bless you. And please feel free to share, to comment, to like and subscribe to the channel. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Have a lovely week.